Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2021 Italian Grand Prix, the final round of the latest triple header of races. Now, 1 week on for the incredible scenes at Zandvoort, it's on to Italy and the famous and historic Monza circuit for round 14 of the season. How quick is this year going? And a weekend that will see the return of sprint qualifying, much to the delight of some of you and the disappointment of others, I'm sure. I know I say this pretty much every week, but I'm really looking forward to this one because I love Monza, quite honestly. And I also think we are going to be in for another classic close battle at the front, but more on that when I get onto my predictions a little bit later in the video. But let's start, as we always do, with a look at some track stats. A lap of the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, that was dreadful, is 5.793 kilometres long. That's 3.600 miles if you prefer, and consists of 11 corners. That's 4 to the left and 7 to the right. And on Sunday, we should see a total of 53 racing laps. Once again, there will be 2 DRS zones available to help with overtaking. The first one runs between turns 7 and 8 with the detection point just before turn 7. And the second one runs down that long start-finish straight with the detection point for that one before the final corner. The race lap record is held by Rubens Barrichello, who set a 121.046 all the way back in 2004. But the fastest ever lap of the circuit is a 118.887, and that was set by Lewis Hamilton on his way to pole position last year. And whilst we're on the subject of last year, what a race we got with one hell of a shock result. Lewis Hamilton and Antonio Giovinazzi both received those penalties for entering the pit lane whilst it was closed due to Kevin Magnussen's stricken Haas on pit entry. The race was later stopped though following Charles Leclerc's big crash at Parabolica, which allowed drivers to change tyres, and that combination plus Hamilton serving his penalty meant that Pierre Gasly was able to take his first ever race victory, fending off Carlos Sainz, who finished second, with Lance Stroll taking the final step on the podium. What a race and what a top three. Last year was also the final race for Sir Frank and Claire Williams at the helm of the team as they and the family stepped back and ended their involvement with Williams. And super quickly, before moving on, just a quick reminder that the famous Parabolica corner will be renamed Curva Alboreto this year, and that's as a tribute to Michele Alboreto, obviously, with the renaming taking place and becoming official this coming Saturday. Moving on, shall we talk about tyres? No? Well, I'm going to anyway. The compounds available for this weekend are middle of Pirelli's range, so they are obviously the hard C2, the medium C3, and the soft C4. Overtaking is possible at Monza, especially with how OP that start-finish straight DRS zone can be, so it won't all be about strategy, but as always, it will still be massively important. Now, last year's race was disrupted by that red flag, which in turn also disrupted strategy. So although things have changed a fair bit since then, looking back to 2019, the winning strategy was a one-stopper with Charles Leclerc going from the soft C4 to the hard C2. And with a pit lane loss time of 25.1 seconds, according to Mercedes at least, I think we can expect to see another one-stopper if it is a straightforward race. Although it is set to be fairly warm this weekend and things like safety cars could mix things up a little bit, so that might not be the case. And on the topic of the safety car, only 7 Italian Grand Prix since 2000 have featured a full safety car period. It is also worth reminding you that the tyre allocation changes for this weekend as a result of sprint qualifying. Instead of the usual 13 sets, teams will get a total of 12 sets of tyres consisting of 2 sets of hards, 4 sets of mediums and 6 sets of softs. And don't forget the Q2 quali tyre rule isn't in effect this weekend, which means everyone gets a free choice of tyres on Sunday, and only the soft compound can be used under Friday qualifying conditions. Weather-wise, at time of recording anyway, it is set to stay dry. Friday will see highs of 27 degrees, and that is pretty much the same for Saturday, with the race itself forecast to be a whole 1 degree cooler. See if that makes any difference. But no rain is expected right now, with the highest chance currently sat at 5% on Sunday afternoon. As I always say in these previews though, there's still plenty of time for that to change between now and the weekend. As for the schedule for this weekend, there are no changes to the sprint qualifying format, so it's very much the same as it was for Silverstone, although some of the timings are slightly different. So FP1 on Friday will start at 1:30 PM BST and will run for the usual 1 hour. Friday qualifying starts at 5 p.m. and we'll decide who wins the Pirelli Speed King Award and not the official pole position. Let's not get into that one again. On Saturday, FP2 starts at 11 a.m. and that's an hour long as well, with sprint qualifying starting at 3:30 p.m. until 4 p.m, assuming there are no safety cars or red flags. And that will, of course, decide who gets pole position for the race proper, which starts, as usual, at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Now, before I get on to the rest of the preview, there are a couple of bits of news I want to very quickly go over. First up, Kimi Raikkonen, as I'm sure you remember, had to miss the Dutch Grand Prix after testing positive for COVID-19, meaning he had to self-isolate. His place was ultimately taken by Robert Kubica, who, by the way, I think did a really good job given how little time he had to get ready for the weekend. But anyway, if Raikkonen was going to be allowed to race this weekend, he would have to return 2 negative tests. But unfortunately, he hasn't been able to do that and so will miss the race in Italy as well. And so Kubica will once again fill in for him this weekend. Look, I know it's one of those things, but given his history with Ferrari, he is their most recent world champion, of course. It is a real shame he couldn't get his final F1 Monza outing in front of the Tifosi, but like I say, these things happen. And Williams has rounded off a crazy week of driver announcements by confirming that Alex Albon and Nicholas Latifi will race for the team in 2022. Now, since that announcement, there has been some speculation about whether or not Albon will keep his Red Bull ties, as in his links to Red Bull, not the ties they provide him for suits. But anyway, however, it was confirmed on Wednesday afternoon that he has been released by Red Bull and is a Williams driver for next season, but they do retain a relationship with him that, quote, includes future options. Have to wait and see what happens with that one. But with Raikkonen retiring, Bottas to Alfa and Russell to Mercedes now confirmed, and Albon to Williams announced, all eyes are on that seat alongside Bottas at Alfa. Who will be his teammate? We'll obviously have to wait and see for that as well. But the same options, including Giovinazzi staying and one of De Vries, Zhou or Ilott coming in, are the rumours at time of recording. Let's get back to the preview though and run through some fast facts courtesy of Lights Out blog. So following Indianapolis and Brooklands, Monza was only the world's 3rd purpose-built motor racing circuit and was built in 1922, although it's changed a hell of a lot since then. Since making its World Championship debut in 1950, there have been 70 races held at the track, and 1980 was the only season the Italian Grand Prix wasn't held there. Over the years, 38 different drivers have taken victory at the track, with Giuseppe Farina being the first and Pierre Gasly the most recent. Ferrari is the team with the most wins at Monza with a total of 19 on home soil. And Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton share the record for the most wins at Monza with 5 each. And curiously enough, they also share the record for the most podiums at the track with 8 apiece. Before I get on to my predictions, I'm going to have a look at some driver form for Monza. As always, I've picked out 5 drivers at random, starting with Sebastian Vettel, who made his first appearance at the track back in 2007 for Toro Rosso, and of course 12 months later took his and the team's first ever F1 victory. Seb has 3 Monza wins to his name in total and scored at every race between 2013 and 2018, but that run ended in 2019, and his DNF last year was his first since 2012. Last season's race was also the first time since 2007 that he didn't make it into Q3, and he has not outqualified a teammate at the track since 2016. Charles Leclerc has a mixed bag of form at Monza. He won the race in front of the Tifosi in 2019, but failed to score in 2018, where he finished 11th, and retired from the race in 2020 following the crash I mentioned earlier. He did take pole in 19, but that is the only time he has managed to make it into Q3 at the circuit. That said, Leclerc has outqualified his teammate at each of his appearances. Max Verstappen debuted at the track in 2015 with a 12th place finish, but then went on to score at every race at Monza between 2016 and 2019, before that run came to an end with a DNF last season. His best race result is P5, and he has only started inside the top 5 twice, although he did qualify in P2 in 2017 but had to start 13th due to penalties. That crazy Monza weekend where just about everybody had to take some kind of engine penalty or something like that. And an interesting line from Lights Out blog says the Dutchman has never finished lower than he started at Monza and gained 11 positions at the track in 2019. Antonio Giovinazzi made his first home Grand Prix appearance in 2019, where he picked up 9th place and a couple of points. However, last year his race was scuppered by that penalty for entering the closed pit lane, and he would ultimately end up finishing 16th. Gio has yet to outqualify a teammate at the track and has a best qualifying position of 11th, and that came in 2019. Back in 16, though, he won the GP2 feature race at Monza and finished 3rd in the sprint race. And Daniel Ricciardo has made 10 appearances at Monza, scoring in all but one of his last 8 races at the circuit. He's never made it onto the podium though, with the best finish of 4th, which he achieved in 17 and 19. His best quali result is 3rd, and that came in 2017, but like his teammate at the time, he took penalties and ended up starting 16th, meaning his best starting position at the track is actually 5th place. Right, time for some predictions then. As always, these are just a little bit of fun, and if you disagree with my picks, then you can let me know yours in the comment section down below. The word from Mercedes at Zandvoort was that they expect Red Bull to have the edge, whereas the word from Red Bull was that they expect Mercedes to have the edge. I love the game playing. Truth is, it is probably another one of those weekends that is just too close to call, but the feeling seems to be that Mercedes will just have a slight edge over Red Bull this weekend. So I am essentially going to flip my Zandvoort predictions. It will more than likely be another straight fight between Hamilton and Verstappen unless something really kicks off, but seeing as I backed Max last time out, I'm going to back Lewis this weekend. So, Hamilton for speaking or whatever Friday is, but just to mix it up a little bit, I'll say Verstappen to win the sprint, however Hamilton will take the win on Sunday, leading home Verstappen. And again, to make it interesting, let's say less than 7 seconds between them over the line. The key for both of them, though, could very well be their teammates. If they are both in play, we could see a great scrap between them and some really interesting strategy in play. But if Perez has another tough Saturday, Verstappen could well be exposed in another 2-on-1 situation. Then again, it is sprint this weekend, and usually Checo races better than he qualifies, so I fully expect him to be up there and in the mix. Obviously, assuming he doesn't do what he did at Silverstone and spin during the sprint. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that won't happen. So for the second weekend in a row, I'll put in P3. Behind the top 2 teams, I think we can expect another close fight between several teams, but McLaren will want to bounce back from a disappointing weekend last time out. And I know I picked them for best of the rest at Zandvoort, but Charles Leclerc has said that on paper this is a difficult track for Ferrari, so I am going to say again that I think McLaren will just pip them as best of the rest in Monza, but I have to say AlphaTauri, Pierre Gasly in particular, could very easily end up getting involved in that fight and picking up some good points. So as my bolder but not really bold prediction for the weekend, I'm going to say Gasly picks up another top 4 finish. As for my one to watch, it's got to be Giovinazzi. It's his home race for starters, so he will want to deliver. But also, he had a surprisingly strong weekend last time out with a great qualifying performance, and prior to his puncture, he was fairly consistently on the fringes of points. He's fighting for his seat as well, so let's just see if he can make Alpha's 2022 driver decision just that little bit tougher to make. That is it for the Italian Grand Prix preview then, but you can, as always, let me know your thoughts and your predictions in the comment section down below. So, who do you think will come out on top in sprint qualifying? Who have you got for the win on Sunday? What is your top 3? And if you've got any bold predictions, you can let me know those as well. Now, unless something mad happens, I will be back live on Sunday with the usual race reaction stream. I'm going to spend the next 2 days trying to fix my PC blue screening issues. Don't worry, Jonty is on it with me. In the meantime, though, if you did enjoy this video, then please do leave a like, as it really does help out the channel. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.